Assalamualaikum and a very good day. My name is Najra Batrisha, and in this video, my friends and I will be presenting about how to create a simple network. Before we start, let me first introduce you to our team members. First, we have Nur Huda Khalida binti Khaizul Anwar, then we have Nur Zulaika binti Azhar, and then myself, Najra Batrisha binti Fahmi Zakaria, and lastly, Nur Balkis Fahada Tasnim binti Nur Muhammad. Now for task delegation, this project consists of 3 main tasks, which includes the introduction, analysis, and the conclusion. To ensure that every member contribute to this project, everyone was assigned an equal portion of tasks to work on. So we listed all the tasks assigned to each member here in this table so that it's clear to see. So for example, Najra, myself, I explained the technology and processes involved, the objectives of this project, and I also delegated the tasks between each member. Huda then explained the topology used and the type of connection used. Tasnim explained the step-by-step of the network setup, while Zulaika explained the step-by-step process of file sharing or sending a message in the network. And this is the general topic outline for this video. Okay, now let's kickstart our presentation with the overview of our project. So for our project, we designed a network for a 3-story library that could support both wired and wireless device connection. The library has 3 departments: administrator, user, and accounting department. And for our network, we used an FTP server, 2 LANs, and 1 wireless LAN for this network in order to connect the PCs and the departments in the library. Since it is a 3-story library, we use an FTP server since it is used and to maintain a more secure file sharing between PCs. We use LANs for both the administrator and accounting department since they are both located at the same level. Whereas for the user, we use wireless LAN so that it can be accessed from anywhere inside the library since the users are not all located at the same place in the library. Moving on to the objectives, we have 8 objectives, namely to set up a wireless or wired network, to set up a simple network using simulation tools, which is packet tracer, to share file between PCs in the network using command prompt, to check a connection between IP addresses of devices that connected to our network using command prompt, to check the IP addresses of devices that are connected to our network using command prompt, to view a list of stations that are connected in a network using command prompt, to send messages between devices in the network, and lastly to provide a network monitoring tool that is available to monitor our network. Next, let us look at the technology used in our network. First, we have the router. So, a router is a networking device that is able to receive and transmit data packets between computer networks. It is responsible for the coordination of communication between computer networks. Next, we have the network switch, which is a device that connects devices and forwards data packets to and from those devices in a network. It also distributes data to the one device it is intended for. Then we have the wireless access point. Wireless access point is used in computer networking to connect other Wi-Fi devices to a wired network. An access point creates a direct connection to a wired local area network, typically Wi-Fi, to take use of that connected connection. Then we have the server. A server listens to and processes requests sent via a network. It's a computer system that takes requests for online files and sends those files to the client in the context of the internet.
I will continue our presentation. Before that, my name is Nur Huda Khalida binti Khaizul Anwar. Okay, topology is like the structure of the network of all the components that are interconnected to each other. Topology can be divided into 2 types, which are physical topology and logical topology. For our project, we use both physical and logical topology. Physical topology refers to the interconnected structure of a local area network, LAN. We use physical topology because it can be determined by how the cables are used to link the physical devices as well as the type of cables used in the whole network system. While logical topology is used to specify the network, architecture is needed for data transit between network nodes. It will help us to define how a network exchange device data and the performance of its media signal. The network's logical topology is also used to provide a path for signals to travel on. Based on our network, we use star topology as a network structure. The arrangement of the network is we use router as a central hub, and every node is connected to the router by using copper straight-through wire. One of the reasons we choose star topology is because of the limited failure in a network, since each station has its own connection that connects it to the central, so failure of one cable will not affect the entire network, and other cables can still be functioning as usual. For example, if the cable in the administration department has been damaged or one of the devices breakdowns, the network still can be used for the other department without affecting the other devices. Also, we use star topology because it is less expensive compared to mesh topology, and most importantly, it is easy to install. Our network use local area network (LAN) and wireless local area network. A local area network is a collection of computers and related hardware that are connected wirelessly or over a wired network to a server operating within a specific geographical area. I will talk about wired local area network first. Switches and Ethernet cabling are used in a wired LAN to link endpoints, servers, and Internet of Things devices such as cell phones or computers to the network system. Mostly our network use wire as the transmission media. It is a physical conductor from one device to another, such as twisted pair wire. To give more details about the Internet connection that we are using in this network, we use copper straight through and copper crossover cables. A wireless LAN is a wireless computer network that connects two or more devices together to develop a local area network. In a specific location, it is a connection that transports electromagnetic waves without using any physical conductor. By using wireless networking, we can avoid the costly process of inserting cables into switches and devices and different locations of equipment. We are using wireless networking only in the user's department. This will benefit the user because they can move around within the area and stay connected to the network by using any devices they want. Next slide is about the connection setup. We connected all devices like 3 computers from the administration department to switch and the other 3 computers from the accounting department in the library also to switch by using a copper straight through cable. For the user department, we have connected 2 computers and 1 printer to the access point and then go to the switch by using wireless networking. Then all the switches from 3 different departments connect to the router which is center of this network system, and this router connects straight to the server. To summarize, we are connecting devices to switches and switches are connected to the router and go to the server. I will explain more about the cable that we are used in our network. Copper straight through is the most common type to connect computers to switches and routers and is widely used by people. In local area networks, a straight through cable is a kind of twisted pair cable that is used to link a computer to a network hub such as a router. We use this cable to connect the PC to switch and switch to the router in our network. We choose this type of cable because it can function to connect 2 devices that operate in different layers of the OSI model such as switch to PC. Then, copper crossover cable we use only to connect the router and server in our network. This cable can function to connect the transmit signals at one end to the receive signals at the other end. Both this cable can be used with Ethernet, fast Ethernet and gigabit Ethernet port types, which makes it easier to make connections between devices.
Hello everyone, I am Tasneem, so I am one of the team members of this group. So today, I'll be presenting about step-by-step on set up our network system. So as you guys know from what my friend mentioned earlier, we'll be doing LAN and also wireless LAN in our network. So first of all, we're going to put a server at the upper side of the project. Now we're going to place the router at the center of the project. So we'll be using 2811 router, and around of the router, we're going to put 3 switch, which is 2960 switch. So the switch is actually represent of 3 departments, which is accounting, administrator, and also user. Now we're going to place access point next to the 3rd switch, which is in the user department. And the remaining of 2 switch, we're going to put 3 PCs around them. After that, we're going to put 2 PC to the wireless LAN, also a printer. Now, I'm going to naming all the IP address and also default gateway for each of the end devices. So for the server, we're going to put IPv4. You can just put any IPv4 that you want. So for my group, we'll be going to put 192.168.5.10. Next, we'll be naming all the PCs and the devices in the network. So as you guys can see here, we're already naming all the PCs and end devices in the network, so we don't get confused later on. Now in the router, we're also going to naming the fast internet port. So in the router, there's only 2 ports, but later on we will show you guys how we're adding 2 additional ports to the router. But first, we're going to name all the 4 ports that we'll be using later on. So from what you guys can see to the network, we have 4 ports, which is for the 3 switch and also 1 is for the server. So each of the fast internet port will be directly linked to each switch accordingly. So from what I said earlier, in the router, we don't have enough port. We only have 2 ports, which is the fast internet 0/0 and fast internet 0/1. So we're going to add in 2 more ports. So we're going to click at the physical in the router. We're going to zoom in. So we're going to switch off the router first. Then we're going to insert in NM2FE2W and click on the router back. Moving on, we're going to connect the router with all the 4 ports, which is from accounting department, administrator department, user department, and also the server according to the fast internet that I mentioned earlier. And we're going to connect the switch from wireless LAN to the access point. After that, we're going to connect all PC in LAN 1 and LAN 2 to each switch. Now, click on the access point. And then we're going to click on config and port 1. So we're going to on the access point and set the SSID to new zone. So you can name it according what you want. And for the authentication, it's set to VEP and the key is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0. Now, so we can see it's already linked with the switch. So go to the PC6. First, click on the PC6, click on the physical. So we're going to turn off the PC6. We're going to remove the port that available at the bottom of the PC and drag in the WMP300N, which is the wireless port, into the empty port that we removed earlier. And turn back on and go to the desktop. In the IP configuration, we're going to put in the IP configuration that we have naming earlier. To the PC wireless, to connect, turn on wireless mode and choose the new zone that we have choose for our access point just now. And put in our key, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, and connect. You guys can see it's already successfully connected to the access point. Now do the same thing to the PC7. And now you can see it's already successfully connected with the access point. Now for the printer, I'm going to switch on the printer in the physical, remove the port at the bottom, and put it on the empty port, and click on the printer back. On the wireless port, you need to on it, click it on, put in the SSID that we have named earlier, which is a new zone, choose VEP, and put in our key. And for the IP configuration, choose static and insert in our IPv4 address, which is 192.168.3.12. And now you can see it's already connected successfully to the access point. And now we're gonna put in the IPv4 and also default gateway to each of the PC that we have naming earlier. So click on PC0, desktop, and go to the IP configuration, choose static, and put in the IPv4 and also default gateway that we have choose earlier. Alright, so repeat the step for each remaining PCs. And now is the server. So click on desktop, click on IP configuration, choose static, and put in the IPv4 and also default gateway that we have naming earlier. So as you guys can see, all that we have naming earlier is actually to make you easy to fill in the IPv4 and also default gateway later on. And now at the router, click on config, click on fast internet 0/0. So turn on the port status and put in the IPv4 for each of the department. So you need to use the same default gateway that you use for each of the department and also for the server. Now you can see all of the switch and the server are connected successfully to the router. Now I'll be explaining about the sending message between the end devices. So first, we're going to click on simulation, going to drag in the message. So we'll be choosing PC0 to PC3. So as you can see, it's success. When you're sending message PC0 to PC3, when in written back, it says successful at the bottom. And now we're going to try on the wireless LAN and also to the LAN. So we'll be choosing PC2 and PC6. And when it turns back to PC2 from PC6, it says successful at the bottom also. From this, I can conclude that our network can successfully sending message through the end devices. Thank you, that's all from me.
Now, we'll move on to the second objective of the project, which is to share file between PC in the network using command prompt. So, first step is click on the server, go to services, and click on FTP. Okay, you can add any username you want. For example, I type here Laika and password 12345. And then you have to click on write, read, delete, rename, and list. And finally add the username, and you can also remove any username that you do not want. So, and then we're done with a username. Let's say I want to create a text file in PC0 so that I can send it to another PC. So firstly, I have to click on PC0, go to desktop and text editor. So I want to type in I have 10 friends. Okay, and then I have to save the file. I'll save it to friends and save. Okay, now proceed to the command prompt and then type dir to check the content of PC0 files, and there you can see we have friends.txt file just now that we have created. Next step is we have to access the FTP server. So you have to type FTP and the IP address of the server, which is 192.168.5.10. Okay, and then you have to log into the FTP using the username that you have created earlier. So type Laika and the password, and then you have officially logged in into the FTP server. And now you can type again the IR to check if the file is in the FTP server. As for now, the file is not in there as we have not yet sent it to the server. So to do that, we have to type put and then type in the file of the text, which is friends.txt, and the transfer is complete, and you can quit. The friends file are already in the server, so let's say if the PC5 wanted that file too. So the thing is, you have to go to the command prompt of PC5 and then type in the IR. As you can see, PC5 does not have the friends text file. So to get the file, firstly we have to access the FTP server using the same step, which you type in FTP and the IP address of the server 192.168.5 and 10, and enter the username and password, and you are successfully logged in. So now type the IR to see if the friends that we have transferred earlier is already in the FTP server, and as you can see, the friends file is already there. And to transfer the file to the PC5, you have to type in get friends.txt, and the transfer is complete. Now you can quit the server and type in the IR to check if the file is successfully transferred to PC5. And as you can see, the friends file are already in the PC5, which means the transfer is completed. Next, we'll move on to the third objective, which is to check the connection between devices in the network using command prompt. So, for the first example, I would like to try to check the connection between PC2 and PC1. So what I'll do here is I click on PC2, go to desktop and the command prompt of PC2, and type in ping and type the IP address of the PC that you want to check the connection with, which is PC1 IP address 192.168.111. And as you can see, the connection is good because we have zero loss. And for the next example, I would like to try to check the connection between a PC from a wired connection and a PC from a wireless connection. So I'll check the connection between PC7 and PC3. So click on PC7, desktop, and go to the command prompt of PC7 and type in ping and the IP address of PC3. And as you can see, the connection is very good because there is zero loss. So here I can conclude that the connection between PCs from LAN to LAN connection or LAN to LAN connection are both good. Next, we will try the fourth objective, which is to check the IP address of devices that are connected to your network using command prompt. So firstly, I want to try to check the IP address of PC5. So click on PC5 and go to its command prompt and type in ipconfig. And there, the IP address details of PC5 are displayed. You can see if it's the same as the one that you have typed in earlier, and it is exactly the same. The IP address and the default gateway are the same as you have entered earlier. So if you want to go in details, you want to check the details of IP address PC5, you can type in ipconfig/all. and more details will be displayed. Next, we will move on to the fifth objective, which is to view a list of stations that is connected in a network using common prompt. As we can see here, we have 4 stations connected. First, the administrator, second, accounting, third, user department, and lastly, we have the server. So we have 4 stations connected to the router. So to check if it's the same in the router, so we click the router and go to CLI and type in show IP interface brief. And the stations that are connected to the router will be displayed. As you can see, Fast Ethernet 00 is the administrators, Fast Ethernet 01 is the accountings, and Fast Ethernet 10 is the users, and Fast Ethernet 11 is the servers.
Network monitoring tools are tools that constantly track, analyze, and report the availability, health, and performance of networks, which include networking hardware, interface, storage device, virtual, environmental, and other essential components. Ichinga is one of the network monitoring tools. Ichinga is an open source computer system and network monitoring application. It was originally created as a fork of the Negios system monitoring application in 2009. The advantage of using Ichinga is a wealth of community-developed plugins, despite of some older style interface, but the dashboard is easy to manage and understand for all the users. And lastly, it's using a stable code base.
Last but not least, we have come to our conclusion. At the end of this project, we learned how to create a simple network using Cisco Packet Tracer. Before, we were not aware about the usage of Cisco Packet Tracer and how to use each tool to create a simple network. With the guidance of Sir Kamarudin Arifin himself, we managed to accomplish the group project easily. We also learned about the function of network devices and the connection between devices, be it wired or wireless. For example, in our network, we used server, router, switch, and other end devices. Moreover, we learned how to explain theoretical ideas and develop the field of data networking and communication. Lastly, we can observe how communication between departments can be run smoothly and how the file can be transferred from one PC to another using FTP. We would also like to thank each member for giving full support and commitment upon finishing the group assignment. It was such a tough journey, but we made it through. Thanks all for your encouragement. That's all from us. Thank you.